Hey guys, as you probably already know, we've come out with our DIY Regrip kits that have everything in here, high quality to everything in here, so that you can regrip for yourself at home. We're going to give you a little educational vid on how it's done. So let's go through it together. So a couple of things you'll need other than the Regrip kit. If you want to reuse the solvent as it drips off after you put it onto your shaft, it's always nice to have a little tray underneath where you're going to spray the solvent. Now, if you're doing one grip, I wouldn't worry, but if you're doing a full set, you could probably save enough solvent to go towards another 2 grips, 3 grips, so it's always nice to have a little tray. I'm using just a screw container, an old screw container. Use whatever you want, paint tray, a bowl, doesn't matter. Other than that, you also need, obviously, a new grip. Right here, we've got the new striped in green. Your golf club as well, which would be handy, and not 100% necessary, but definitely makes the job a hell of a lot easier, is a vise. If you don't have a vise, it's not a big issue, you can do it by hand, but this will make your life easier. And also the Regrip kit comes with something that can go in your vise to protect your golf club. All right, well, let's have a look what's inside the Regrip kits. So as you see, all comes assembled inside here, neatly packed. Now we have Brampton solvent. Now this is the best solvent in the world. It's what everyone uses, from the tour trucks to your pro shops to your golf courses. These are the best producers of solvent, and we sourced it and we packed it for you guys. Secondly, we have a hook blade. Now hook blade is to get your grips off, and I'll show you how that's used in a second. We have the rubber clasp to go into your vise, which I can give you a quick run through now of that. So it will sit, once you put it on your golf shaft, it will then sit in between here. You tighten it around your golf shaft. It holds the golf shaft nice and tight without damaging it. And then finally, we've sourced fantastic tape out of manufacturers in the USA. Now this tape is branded specifically for us, as you can see here, and we'll show you in more depth how that is used, but let's get one out for you. As you can see, beautiful custom RIPIT print, and the tape on the other side, the double-sided tape. All right, well, let's get to doing a golf grip. So first things first, we're going to take off the old grip here. Now it's best to always use the blade and pull away from yourself. So hook blade is out, hooked underneath, as we see. I try and always aim down the center. It's got nothing to do with anything technical. You could go to the side, you could go to the back. As we come up this way, we rip through there, hook blade away, and then we peel this old one off, like so. Wasn't put on too long ago, so she's still nice and secure. And we throw that one out. Now this here is obviously old tape, but this is not too bad. One thing I would recommend, if you rip it off and you're happy with the tape and it's got some tackiness on it, you don't necessarily need to replace the tape. I use a single layer tape, 1 layer of tape. I look for standard on our grips every day of the week. If you wanted to add 2, 3, 4 layers of tape, 100% fine to do so. 2 extra layers of tape, so 3 layers of tape will give you the perfect mid-size. And I have plenty of friends or plenty of people I've regripped for, up to 5, 6 layers of tape to get that feeling of a jumbo. So to get this tape off, can be a little difficult. This is not too bad because it's new, but if you have a heat gun, a hairdryer, anything like that, it makes this job a hell of a lot easier. So we'll just speed this process up for you. All right, so we had a little bit of trouble there, as you can see. So now we've got the heat gun, and this is good because we can show you this method as well. So we have an industrial commercial heat gun, but you could use, like I said, a hairdryer would like soften it a touch. This obviously runs at around like 500 degrees, so it's a little better, but look, you have what you have. If you just have the time, you can also just rip it off without the heat gun itself. That's clean enough. Now, obviously, if I use a heat gun, I like to let it cool down. I don't like to apply the new tape just because it could compromise the adhesive. So I always like to let it cool down before you go on to the next stage. All right, so now you put the rubber clamp on the shaft first. Now, ideal position of the rubber clamp is you can really put it anywhere you want, but I like it as close to the grip as possible. Well, yeah, to an extent, because then that gives us that rigidity right next to where we're actually applying pressure. So I just put it on. I don't worry about where it's sitting in terms of the face angle at the moment. I get it in the vise and I'll just tighten the vise a little bit. Then I'll rotate the club to square up the face vertical as best as possible. This just gives me a good sort of measure when I'm putting the grip on, so I can get the grip as close as possible to square right off the bat. Pretty happy there. I'm a stickler for having my alignment perfect, and on all of RIPIT grips, we do add alignment lines down the grips, especially on the striped grip that we're about to show you. What's really important now is not over tightening the vise. Not gonna lie, I have cracked a shaft before on a driver, and it's not a cheap replacement. So always be very tentative. Loose is better. If you need to tighten it as you're pushing, then we'll work on that. But just give it a little force here. As you can see, it's not going through, so I'm happy at that point there. I'm gonna leave it. Okay, so now the tape, which are all pre-cut at the perfect length. So that's one thing you don't need to measure out, is the tape length. So we're gonna get one tape out here. As you can see, this side here. Now the side we're gonna peel first is that side. So we're gonna remove the side with the print on it. Get rid of it, that's rubbish now. And we're gonna leave a smidgen of overlap, right? And that's to get around the end of the shaft, so that then if there's any sharp edges on the end of the shaft, that then is protected as we put the grip on. It doesn't, you know, make it coarse as it goes over the shaft. So at this point here, we're gonna then peel off one of the additional layers of the backing. And I found the best method with this is to be as gentle as possible and wrap all at once, like so. If you sort of like try and do it tight, you end up creating creases. So I just do it gentle like so. Remove the second one. And again, gentle like so around the whole shaft. I then always run my hand underneath just to make sure it's all flat underneath as well. And then on the end here, we're just gonna fold the ends in to the shaft. And you can see what that does is if there is any sharp edges there, it then covers those sharp edges to enable us to slide the grip on smoothly. Okay, now let's have a crack at putting the new grip on. So a couple of things here. Just gonna shake up the spray a little bit. Now we've given you a spray nozzle here. We thought that was the best option. We could have done a poured option, but this conserves as much of the solvent as possible for any future use. So I'm just gonna start spraying, and you can't put too much solvent. So you don't want to get stuck halfway. So I give it maybe up and down 3 times. A few sprays into the actual grip itself. Be very careful not to get solvent all over the grip. It definitely affects the paint. It's solvent, so it'll make the paint run or things like that. So we see it a lot where people had individuals put the grip on and there was just solvent all over the grip and the paint run. So just be as careful as possible. Now I'm aligning where I want my top with the top of the shaft over here, the top of the face angle. Now we just pop that front edge over like so, and then we just want to push 2 hands nice and even all the way on. Now I use 2 hands and keep them as straight as possible. You do have the opportunity to maneuver it. Now, really important now is that the length of the grip is really important, right? Because that dictates how thin or thick the grip may be. So I use an old grip or another new grip to align it up to make sure that the grip is the same length as it should be, and therefore the thickness that it should be. So I just need an extra little nudge out of that there, and I just run from the back and get the stretch evenly throughout the whole grip. You don't just want to stretch the very end down. I'm then going to align it again. That's bang on, so I'm really happy with that. I'm going to get down with my eye and check the alignment with the face angle. Looks perfect. Take this off, nice dry towel, wipe the butt end, wipe below the grip, get rid of all that solvent down there. Now just be gentle, it is wet, so it will twist if you twist it. Take this out of here, that off there, and that's it. You have a freshly gripped grip at home. Save yourself some money, save yourself plenty of time. That grip will be ready to use in, look, definitely ready to use the next day. And if you really wanted to, you could use it within, say, 5 hours. The solvent should be dry enough to give it a good crack. But next day is recommended. And that's it.